For 5 minutes for an opening statement.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for your very kind words. I would only say that we have had a wonderful relationship, you and me, going back from the time I was elected. But I would call you brother. You're a good man. Thanks. And I did bring this. Some of you may note that I have Coach Harbaugh coming in a little bit later this morning, so I brought my license plate in for him to take a look at and do pictures for anybody that wants one. Sorry about you, Penn Staters. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank Secretary Granholm, too, for appearing before the subcommittee to provide testimony. Our relationship as a former governor of Michigan goes back a long time in a very positive way. So I would only add, just to compliment Bobby's word, Chairman Rush, that I hope we can keep you here till maybe a little bit after 1. We've got votes at 1:15 or so, so I'm hoping we can keep you until those votes start. But, Mr. Chairman, I know that we're all deeply troubled by Russia's unprovoked attack on Ukraine. It's so terrible to witness Russia's committing genocide in Ukraine while Europe is being held hostage by the dependence on Russian oil and gas. And sadly, we've watched America's energy production fall while gasoline prices have reached record highs. Inflation is surging out of control. Folks are suffering, having to choose between putting food on the table or maybe put gas in the car. And yes, Republicans have been sounding the alarm. We urge the president to impose crippling sanctions on Russia's energy industry and stop the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. These steps are essential to cut Europe's dependence on Russian energy. We've also put forth legislation that would restore America's energy dominance and global leadership. America is the world's leading producer of oil and gas. That's no accident, and we should like it. We can produce significantly more energy than we do today and unleash the vast resources under our feet. We can also help our allies in Europe and Ukraine by sending shipments of American oil and LNG to replace Russian supplies. Certainly, the Department of Energy has a very important role to play. As the Secretary of Energy, your primary responsibility is strengthening and protecting the nation's energy security, and in order to maximize America's energy abundance, we've got to modernize our energy infrastructure, restart energy leases on federal lands, build more pipelines and LNG export facilities, and strengthen our supply chains so that they are more resilient to shocks. DOE must lead by example. They should consider issuing waivers to streamline the permitting process for LNG export facilities and send the signal that our country will be a stable and reliable supplier of natural gas for many decades to come. Our European allies need more certainty to push back on Russia and build new import facilities and pipeline interconnections. Meanwhile, FERC, an independent agency within DOE, is needlessly postponing decisions on dozens of projects by adding months to the already rigorous environmental review process. Making matters worse, FERC has also injected tremendous uncertainty in the process by throwing out decades of bipartisan precedent and attempting to change natural gas policy in ways that contradict the Natural Gas Act. So I intend to use today's hearing to learn more about the steps DOE plans to take to encourage more American energy production and lower prices for consumers. While the administration's talking points appear to recognize the need to increase American oil and gas production and lessen our dependence on China for critical materials, I'm concerned by the complete lack of follow-through. The White House announced a goal to increase LNG exports to Europe, but they provided no details on the regulatory reforms needed to make it a reality. The White House announced a plan to utilize the Defense Production Act for critical materials, while EPA continues to make it virtually impossible to construct and permit any new mines in the U.S. So we need new solutions. America has the competitive advantage. We have the world's richest supply of natural resources. We have enduring spirit of innovation, and we have the most rigorous environmental and labor standards. On a positive note, many of us were pleased with the announcement that our ambassador to Greece, Jeffrey Pyatt, who is departing this week, is going to go to become the new Assistant Secretary of State for Energy Resources. He's a career ambassador. Under Obama to Ukraine, under Trump and Biden to Greece, he well understands the critical need to ensure that our European allies have the proper energy resources to wean themselves off Russian imports. So important for the world as the Ukrainians need all the tools needed to win and prevail against Putin. So let's lead by example, get the government out of the way, and unleash America's energy abundance. With that, Mr. Chairman, my friend, I yield back.